ministry under your guidance, under your policy direction for a year, and asking questions and looking at, ways in which things have worked or not worked, and then asking the questions why, and then giving the explanations as to how. Like I said, the ministry is large. When we hear lands, we stop at lands most times. Right. And we don't take into consideration urban development. We don't take into consideration public works. Neither do we take into consideration housing. Until, of course, when the housing levy was here and everybody was now, going hammer and tongs about that. So give us a little bit of an overview of what it has been working across those four sectors in the ministry over the last 1 year before we delve into other critical matters.
Yeah, thank you very much. As you've well said, I'm in charge of lands, public works, housing, and urban development. So these are three state departments within one ministry. When I must, on matters land, we all know land is a very emotive sector. And there has been a lot of issues on matters land. But I am happy to say that within the last 10 months, we've been able to do some reforms, land reforms. And one major reform is the issue on lands, digitization of lands records. This way, we will be able to we'll be able to secure land tenure, because with digitization, one aspect is to detach human contact with manual with the records, and that way we're almost through with Nairobi registry, and once we're done with that, we'll now spread out to other parts of the country. So with Nairobi, we are almost through, and it has not been easy, but one thing that has made us succeed is involving all the stakeholders in the land sector. We realized when we came in, the developer of Adisasa had not involved all other stakeholders. So when we came in, we brought in the LSK. We've been working with the Institution of Surveyors of Kenya and also the Bankers Association, and of course fully involved the staff within the ministry who felt that they had been left out. And that way we've been able within 10 months to actualize that process. So we're happy that's working, and of course there are lessons learned, and we are sure now when we spread out it will not be as difficult as it has been. Another issue is that now the government has realized the importance of lands when it comes to revenue generation, and starting this financial year, the government has given the State Department for Lands and Physical Planning the A&A, which will also help us to do things faster, because initially we were always requesting from the Treasury. So this way now we'll be having some money to make us run and move fast. On matters housing, of course, that also has been an issue.
Yes.
And one thing I want Kenyans to know is that we have a problem when it comes to urban housing. There is a very fast and huge urbanization, not only in Kenya but worldwide. So if we don't take care of that now, then we'll have a problem in the future. So the affordable housing program will help us as a country to make sure that people who come to urban areas looking for jobs and greener pastures are well taken care of. 60% of Kenyans living in urban areas living in informal settlements, in slums. And if we don't check that, then it will mean these informal settlements will keep on growing. So this idea of affordable housing will help Kenyans have homes. And I think it's an initiative that His Excellency the President is really supporting. And as a ministry, we are also keen to see that we achieve the 200,000 units that are needed every year. The demand is 250, but the market currently from the private sector only gives 50,000. Out of these 50,000, only 2% goes to the low-income earners. So we still have a huge deficit to accommodate the low-income earners, and we intend to move from the 2% to 50% in the next 5 years, and that is achievable. And we are working closely with county governments, because what we are doing is to make sure that we get land from either the national government or the county government. To also, we are giving incentives to developers by, apart from providing that free land, they are also exempted from the 16% VAT. Okay. And also for the first homeowners, they don't pay the 4% stamp duty. So we are really encouraging Kenyans to own homes. Okay. One thing Kenyans have been suffering from, especially those living in informal settlement, is that though you pay about 3,500 to 4,000 on rent, there are other fees that come indirectly. One, you pay more for electricity, because most of those electricity are illegally connected. So whoever does that will charge you more. You pay more for water. And worse still, you even pay to go to toilets. You can imagine a household of 5 in a day. When you do your sums, at the end of the month, you'll be paying close to 7,000 in that one single room, but you are living in a very indecent way. So the Affordable House Program has come in to make Kenyans live in a decent way, knowing very well that shelter is a basic human right. Yeah. And we should give that to Kenyans. Okay, so you've given us an overview of land. Right. There will be questions coming in. Right. You've given us an overview of housing, at least over those 10 months. Right. Public works and urban development. Yes. Public works is basically a technical and supportive state department. Right. And what we've done, we had stalled projects that had been there stalled for almost 10 years. And in particular, we had 5 county government projects that had stalled. That is Nyandarua, Isiolo, Tana River, I think Lamu. But as we are talking now, Public Works have taken over. And those projects in the next 1 year, they will be done. So they come in, and also we are working closely with now Public Works in preparation for the El Nino, which we all aware could be coming. So Public Works through the NCA is sensitizing developers, talking to county governments to make sure that we mitigate on the El Nino or the El Nino phenomenon. So we have also activated that state department. We have also they lacked enough staff, technical staff. We've now advertised, and we'll soon be recruiting technical staff to help improve on their performance, especially at the regional levels.
Okay.
In urbanization, under my ministry, we also have the Kenya Urban Support Program, which is working closely with the county government, more so in making sure that where we have municipalities, and it's good to let Kenyans know that initially, before we came in, we had 59 municipalities. Now we have 77. So we've added 18 more. So Kenya Urban Support Program is coming in to make sure that those new municipalities are set and the municipal boards are formed. So that's where we are.
Okay. So maybe we can go to land. One of the big ticket issues, big ticket items for land in this country has then been digitisation.
Right.
RD SASA then came in to make sure that all records and historical, current and then hopefully future will then be in a system whereby there's no obviously manual handling of records in any way, shape or form. However, we did see that at the beginning of that rollout that it was a bit frustrating, and folks talked about the fact that it was deliberately frustrating because with or without the digitisation platform, that the ministry still remains a stomping ground for agents of corruption. How have you been able to deal with that? Because you did say it about a week ago, actually, that with the digitisation, we're starting to claw back on the negative steps that have been made on corruption, and that in a short while we will see that cartels who have been inhabiting the ministry will start to be phased out. But last week, right? So how is the experience that folks have been going through different, even when they cry a situation whereby digitisation has not really helped matters?
The truth of the matter is digitisation will help. One, why we had cartels is it means that there are services that were not rendered well, then that's where cartels comes in to fill in that gap. But with digitisation, for instance, even to do a search, you not need to come to the lands offices. That's something you can easily do from the comfort of your phone. So what we're saying is, I know with digitisation, there are many people who feel they will lose. And there are people, those are some of the people who have been sabotaging the whole process. But when we brought in an all-inclusive teamwork kind of a framework, then they realized that for us to succeed, then we must involve each and every person. The Law Society of Kenya felt left out. The ISK felt left out. The Bankers Association felt left out. But when we brought them on board, and we all agreed we want efficiency in the land sector, and we demonstrated to them how that will help all of us, then we started working together. And I think a month ago, we all came together and gave a statement that digitisation is working and it is good for all of us. In fact, the Bankers Association confessed that since we started working together, they have unlocked over 50 billion Kenyan shillings that were locked because of lack of transactions. But with that, with our working together and of course sensitizing the public on how it should work, talking to lawyers because most of them are the initiators of the processes. Once they have realized how to use the SASA platform, things are flowing, and I can assure you, in the very shortest time, we will not have cartels at the house.
Right. Thank you so much. It's good to hear this, and of course, there's a lot of skepticism because of the historical realities around land. Digitisation is great. It's really, really important. How will it deal with the interface? Because I think there are still some processes that are manual at the ground level. For instance, if you need approvals on things like subdivision or transfer of property, I imagine there are still some manual processes that then link into the digital. Also, we've seen with processes like IFMIS, where we talk about a digital platform, we've still seen corruption because of the culture. So my question is, once we digitize, how does that protect people? Let's say your lease has expired. We've seen this forced acquisition by cartels coming in to then take over throughout families from where they've lived. We've seen people also lose their land. Maybe some people didn't update their details on this digital platform. It was re-registered. And then there is that human interface. So where are the risks? Is what I'm asking, because I've long since come to realize digitization is about efficiency.
Right.
It's not always about corruption, because there is still the ability of people to share passwords, hack, and so there's a culture. So what have you identified as the risk points, and what are the mitigation?
One reason why I remember my predecessor before she left, while giving me a brief, she told me Nairobi is fully digitized.